appearance and reality. It's interesting that when John Locke wrote the words that start off this particular module, his ideas hark all the way back to Plato and Socrates, who were enemies of rhetoric. And Locke says that okay, maybe rhetoric has pleasure and delight, but it's more important to be informed and to improve yourself. And he argues that this is something rhetoric can't do. And he argues this because he talks about things as they are. The idea here is that if things as they are can be seen and recognized, then the flowery language that we use can only get in the way, right? They can, and he gives us 3 ways they can get in the way. First of all, they can insinuate wrong ideas. You might think about this as interpretation. One of the interesting things about interpretation is you can always be more than one. If there's not more than one, then it's not interpretation. For instance, we know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. It never equals 5 and it never equals 3. It always equals 4. So there's no interpretation there. But we can say that Romeo and Juliet is about true love conquering all, or we can argue from the same play that Romeo and Juliet is really about how love just gets us in trouble because look how everybody who loved each other died in the play. So we have a problem there. What is really real if there's more than one way to talk about it? And if you're arguing, obviously there's more than one way to talk about it. Therefore, rhetoric must get in the way. He says also that rhetoric can move the passions. And whenever we are in the realm of emotions, if you're a philosopher like Locke or Plato or Socrates or Kant or any of a vast number of philosophers, rationality and reason are the only things that are important. And anytime emotion comes into play, then we're getting in the way of reality once again. And consequently, his third idea, they can mislead judgment, right? Because we can have these crazy wrong ideas. We can have 2 or 3 different interpretations. One interpretation may be emotional. It may appeal to us because it makes us sad or it makes us happy. Then it can mislead judgment. And I'm sure you can think of all sorts of ways that that might happen. I know I can. For instance, if you're an atheist, you might say that people who believe in heaven are believing that way because they want to believe in heaven. They want to be heaven. They're not being rational. They're listening to their emotions. Or you might, for instance, look at a fellow along the side of the road. There's one up there on University who's in a wheelchair, right? Which guy at the side of the road do you give money? Do you give money to the younger guy who looks like he could hold a job, or do you give money to the guy in the wheelchair because you feel sorry for him because you're emotional, right? So rationalists are always troubled by this.